Chapter 7. Serafina smiled faintly and replied calmly, I only know that you like to steal other people's boyfriends. I didn't expect you to like to steal other people's families too. Do you like other people's things that much? But you and your mother had no place to go. Now that you have everything, do you still want more? She spoke lightly, but the meaning behind it slapped Lily straight in the face. Megan and Lily were both despicable and greedy. They were lucky enough to occupy the nests of the Beaumont and Ashford houses, but they still didn't know how to be satisfied. She spoke softly, but the contempt in her eyes was clear. Lily, you have entered the Ashford family and still haven't let go of the Beaumont family. It's really your style to be involved with several men at the same time. A lowly illegitimate child like you became a young lady, and I suffered for you for 18 years. You don't thank me, but you dare to stand in front of me and act aggrieved? Do you have any shame? These words stopped Lily's tears that were about to fall. It's true that Grandma won't let you step foot in the door. She says you come back too often. Every time you drag my mother and younger brother to isolate me. It will take a long time for me to integrate into this family. Lily, you're really evil. It's not enough that you've taken away my life for 18 years, and you want to take away my whole life. Who are you acting weak and crying for now? In the end, she used her grandmother to attack, aiming straight at Lily, who was pretending to be pitiful and calling for sympathy, but in fact wanted to harm her so that she would not be accepted by her family. Lily was truly unpredictable. The people who knew the story standing around were all terrified by Serafina's casual and venomous words. Although they saw her sharp tongue, they also understood that every word she said made sense. Not to mention, Lily's previous glory was thanks to Serafina. And the poor woman Megan had also become a lady in the upper class. This mother and daughter owed Serafina so much, yet they still dared to sinisterly harm her like this? Lily usually followed a cold and noble image, so the sudden tearful scene just now was really fake. Lily was told that she had no strength to argue back. After all, she was not a white lotus. Crying was not in line with her goddess style. Moreover, Serafina had said that, even if she really wanted to cry, she could not cry, otherwise it would be pretending to be pitiful. She stood amidst the doubtful gazes of everyone around her, holding back her internal injuries. You did that. But Serafina didn't bother to look at her anymore. Her eyes darted back and forth, seeing William in the distance. She poked Vivian. William is here, why don't you go say hello? Lily's attention immediately shifted, her eyes flew away and then froze. Just judging by temperament and appearance, this is the #1 quality man. Vivian heard Serafina's words, her face turned red again, but she still smiled, walked over. Before leaving, she did not forget to say to Serafina, I'll come find you later. Lily was stunned for a few seconds, until her vision was blocked by Vivian's prominent back. She reluctantly withdrew her gaze. Serafina pretended not to notice Lily staring at her. She walked in front of the Princess Tears diamond, successfully attracting her gaze to come along. When Lily saw this blue diamond, she was startled. How could it be? When Mother wanted to give this diamond to her, Grandmother firmly gave it to Theodore. But he had already promised to give it to her. Why was Serafina taking it out as a donation? Lily's voice was a little shaky. Serafina, when you took this diamond away, did Mother know? What's the difference between knowing or not? Serafina's voice was very indifferent. Mother has no right to manage the family's finances. All the assets in Theodore's hands are now under my management. His cards, his cars, his money, his yachts, his planes, his stocks, all are for me to handle. No one can interfere. Lily's face paled. In his previous life, most of Theodore's assets were defrauded by her. Serafina stared at the diamond and sneered, you like this diamond very much, but I don't think you're worthy. It's better to give it to someone else than to you. Lily gritted her teeth. She and Serafina had not treated each other well since the first time they met, but at that time, she was still the noble young lady of the Beaumont family. Although Serafina hated her, because of her status barrier, she had always suffered in front of her. But Lily never expected that she was a fake, and in the blink of an eye, she had lost everything. This was something she couldn't accept. What right did she have to give Serafina her noble status? Fortunately, Megan later married Winston, and she was actually his illegitimate daughter, but she had to hide it from everyone, including Vivian. Although the Ashford family was not as rich and powerful as the Beaumont family, but Olivia and Theodore both liked her. What made her happy was that Seraphina's integration into her new home was extremely difficult. She was suppressed to the point of being depressed and unhappy, had a strange temperament, and was full of resentment but had no ability to fight back. So she was very relieved, but unexpectedly, Seraphina suddenly changed after a trip to Shanghai. Her calm and arrogant appearance, she even dared to humiliate her over and over again, as if she had truly become the young lady of the Beaumont family. Lily still stubbornly said sarcastically, "I'm not worthy?" Are you worthy? I should be the one saying this to you, right? Seraphina smiled, straightening her back. I'm the eldest daughter of the Beaumont family, and what about you? You bastard who doesn't even know who your father is. She laughed coldly, guessing that she didn't dare to say the truth that her father was Winston. I just said it so clearly, and you still dare to be arrogant in front of me? Lily, you're really shameless. Without waiting for Lily to get angry, she smiled gently, so now I have to take the initiative to fight. If you want to take anything from Theodore in the future, I'm sorry, I've already taken care of everything. Lily's temple throbbed painfully, having known Seraphina for many years. This was the first time she was defeated by her, and was even scolded by her as a bastard. Was she being blessed by the Beaumont family? Could it be that Seraphina thinks that this Lily owes her? Unforgivable, before, this brat was clearly always defeated by her. She was about to say something, but Seraphina didn't pay any attention. Just curled her lips into a smile and disappeared into the crowd. Lily watched her figure, gritting her teeth fiercely. She had already looked down on this damn brat. Seraphina, do you really think you can have it all? When Seraphina passed by a room, she saw William and Vivian, who seemed to be chatting happily. His conditions were very good, so even Vivian was easily attracted to him. Looking at him, a trembling flashed in her eyes. Who would have thought that a man with such a warm smile and elegant gestures was actually a cruel and vicious demon? When she was humiliated, he calmly sat by her side and watched. When she was injected with drugs, he also coldly watched. As for Theodore, a young life, he shot him 29 times. She counted each and every shot. No one with any humanity would be so cruel. Her eyes were filled with ice, filled with hatred. She suddenly forgot where she was. At this moment, he seemed to sense her gaze, and turned to look. However, their eyes did not meet. A strange young man stood between the two, politely inviting her. "Miss Seraphina Beaumont, our master wishes to see you." She sorted out the emotions that had just surged up in just a second, then nodded in response. "Please show me the way." She followed the guy out of that place, passing through a long hallway, to a beautiful and quiet room. The guy was standing outside the door, not intending to enter. She took a deep breath, pushed the door open and entered by herself. The room was meticulously decorated. There were only 2 people inside. Sitting in the middle of the sofa was an old man with silver hair but still very dignified, with such an extraordinary demeanor. Without needing to guess, he was Mr. Lancaster. The young man sitting on the sofa beside her, his eyes distant, his face elegant. She wanted to die right away. Wasn't this the man sitting on the balcony just now? Thinking with her toes, she knew he was Harrison Lancaster, the eldest grandson of the Lancaster family. He looked up at her, his eyes still expressionless, as if he was looking at a stranger he had never met before. Her facial muscles stiffened for a second, originally intending to smile politely at him, but he had already indifferently looked away. She walked to the sofa opposite Mr. Lancaster, obediently said, "Hello, sir," and sat down. He asked about Mrs. Beaumont's health first out of politeness, then asked about the Jade Return to the King act and her adaptation to life. It seemed like everyone was very curious. Whatever he asked, she answered politely and calmly. This surprised him quite a bit, since he had heard about the Beaumont family mistaking their granddaughter for another granddaughter. This was the first time he had seen her. He had heard that this girl had lived a miserable life before, but unexpectedly she had the demeanor of a noble lady. When talking to him, her voice was soft, but also as if paying attention to the hearing of the elderly. Her tone was steady, with both heavy and light tones that were very pleasant to the ears. and her speed was leisurely and just right. The content of her answer was moderately tense and relaxed, skillfully and restrained, although a bit serious, but mixed with a bit of emotion. Very good. After talking back and forth for a long time, Mr. Lancaster became friendlier. She knew that she had performed well, and had left a good impression on the old man in her first meeting. However, she glanced at Harrison beside her. He seemed uninterested, just staring into space, not looking at her for half a moment. This made her a little disappointed. It seemed that the incident on the balcony had left a bad impression on him. Although she didn't care about his views on her, she didn't want it to affect the Max Power project. Mr. Lancaster talked about family matters with her for a while before moving on to the main topic, the diamond. Whose idea was it to donate this diamond? It was my idea. She answered honestly. Moreover, it was also agreed to by my grandma.